They don't lean into the reality of the gods quite as much in this movie. But like, if you are a man in the world, you need to understand what the world is like and how dark and how cold it is.
That's a little bit of the journey of the hero too, overcoming your weaknesses, being stronger. Well, they cannot do it. Only Odysseus can. Hello, friends. Welcome back. My name is Marina. He's Rob. Today we're going to be analyzing one movie that we watched yesterday, so it's pretty fresh.
This is going to be a deep, scholarly analysis of every slight detail and difference between the movie and the original tale. That's a joke. It's not going to be that. So if you're here for that, you've come to the wrong place.
No, but we're going to give a lot of spoilers. We are going to analyze the movie. We are going to disagree a lot.
Probably. If you don't want to be spoiled by the movie, definitely don't watch this because we are going to talk about things in the movie, obviously. So this is not going to be a spoiler-free thing. But honestly, this story is like one of the oldest stories ever. So if you aren't already familiar with it, I don't know. Didn't you read it in school like many times? I know I did.
I didn't.
They didn't have you guys read the...
No, see, everyone has their own journey.
What kind of schools do they have down in Argentina?
Ones where we focus on the important things, and this was not as important.
Okay.
We are also going to give our opinions on the cast, the technical things about the direction of the movie. I personally want to tell you what was my favorite part, what was my least favorite part, and give you a conclusion, especially for our brothers and sisters that are Christian. Should you watch this movie? I mean, I feel like you should if you want to, but our opinions through our Christian lens, obviously. Everything that we are going to talk about is from a Christian worldview. So let's start. Tell us about the movie. What is the story? I know it's obvious, but there's differences.
Well, the story basically is Odysseus is king of Ithaca. He leaves his family to go to war with Agamemnon against Troy. And after the war is over, he's trying to return home to his queen and his son to retake his throne on Ithaca. And it's about that journey after the Trojan War, trying to get home and running into all kinds of trouble along the way.
Yeah, and let's put it this way. That's the plot, but there's multiple layers of meaning.
For sure.
Little situations. So what we're going to analyze is kind of like our things that grab our attention for you and for me. And maybe you have another interpretation that's also valid, or you can debate on the comments, obviously.
Or invalid.
Yeah, or invalid. Maybe you're wrong, okay? Maybe you are wrong.
Maybe we're wrong.
I'm never wrong.
Well, we're never wrong, so.
Let's say that this is a typical hero's journey. And the hero's journey is a very masculine journey. So we start with our character that is played by Odysseus, that is played by Matt Damon. Mm-hmm. And Matt Damon has his beautiful wife and his son, and he's a warrior.
Your favorite actress of all.
Yeah, but we're going to talk later about the cast, the Anne Hathaway. She's in my blacklist. I have a Hollywood blacklist.
Yes, and she's definitely on it.
But not going to talk about it in this video. And then it's the son how is Tom Holland?
Tom Holland, yeah.
Yeah, I kind of like him, but still, I'm kind of tired of Tom Holland too.
Really?
Yeah.
He's got 2 movies out at the same time.
Yeah, that's
crazy.
Yeah, we're going to talk about Tom Holland later.
Okay.
The classical hero's tale, it's about becoming a man, singularity. It's very masculine in nature because it's like the main protagonist go and faces different situations, and then he comes back as a different person. It's a transformation journey. I feel like it's human in many aspects. That's why it's classical, and that's why we're still talking about it to this day. So kind of my question to start the analysis, why do you think this story is still relevant today, that we need to tell it again?
I mean, we have the same problems. Like every generation has the same problems. So that's why it's important.
Yeah. And to me, this movie in particular and the classical story too, they tap into the patriarchal hierarchy. There's about kingdoms. There's about warriors. There's about conquering. And basically, from my perspective, this story talks about the masculine journey. And my nuance is that the director didn't do good for masculinity in this movie.
Do you think Nolan was trying to villainize masculinity in the movie? Is that what you're
I
trying to say?
don't know if he did it intentionally. This is my view of the movie
Because I didn't get that at all. So this is going to be a point of disagreement we have. But go ahead.
Well, my point of view is like we start with the hero, and Odysseus, traditionally, in the way that I understood the character from the original story, he's like a mercurial type of hero. Very intelligent, smart, kind of manipulative, very impulsive, like he goes and he conquers and he goes through these difficulties, all this journey, and he's a smart, victorious character. Like his way of navigating with his intelligence the situations that he's in, with like managing what the gods want from him, the people want from him, his crew want from him, his kingdom wants from him. He navigates all of those situations that are stressful and demand different things from him with his intelligence. And when I see the movie, I see like a very doomed, traumatized, kind of introspective in a bad way character. He's smart. There's a emphasis in the way that he navigates with that smart, quirky intelligence. But I feel like it's in a way where the character, even when he goes and succeeds in his journey, it's the villain. He ends up being the villain. He leaves his family. He goes and conquers Troy because he was smart. He tricked them, and he also tricked the one of the soldiers that I don't remember the name. Sinan, that it's played by Ellen Page, and Ellen Page dies in the first moment of the movie.
Yeah, but keeps coming back, like in little scenes here and there.
Yeah, she represents like a kind of like a soldier that is not very high rank. It's kind of like a
Yeah.
And she dies like pretty quickly because she's the one that is standing in the horse of Troy before entering the city. So it's the first one that dies in that sequence. Then for different reasons, I will not get too deep into it because then it's too long. But every place that like Odysseus goes, some of his crew dies, and he seems not to honor the men that die with him, and they seem like a side effect of achieving his goals of succeeding or gaining victory in every situation that confronts him.
They don't really reveal until the end like why he's so troubled and traumatized in the movie, which basically, spoiler alert, is because of what they did to the Trojans with the horse. They violated it's the position of Nolan, I guess you could say, that the Greeks violated Zeus's law of hospitality by presenting like a fake gift of peace and then using that trickery to then go in and slaughter the Trojans. So, and then while they're doing that, of course, you see all the things that come with pillaging and destroying a city, like killing young women and innocents along with soldiers, things like that. And Odysseus doesn't really participate so much in that aspect, at least that we can see, but he does watch it happen and doesn't really do anything to stop it. So he probably feels shame for that. So a lot of the movie, it's almost like he doesn't think he deserves to go back home, sort of. And that's kind of why at least that was my interpretation of what was going on, which again, they don't reveal to the end, but it feels like he doesn't think he deserves to go back home because of the terrible things he did in Troy. That was my interpretation.
No, that's exactly what I'm saying. Like this hero that it's smart, that he can navigate situations, he does it in a way where he hurts other people and then he feels guilt, and then that guilt is what stops him from going back home and taking the throne that is his and his family, leaving them to the mercy of other evil people that are there in the kingdom. So basically, it's kind of dark if you think about it, because it talks about all these self-sabotaging, all this trauma that he inflicted in himself, so he doesn't feel like he deserves to go back to the love of his family. And when he finally goes back after 20 years of navigating around for different reasons, he takes responsibility. He goes back. He goes back like in the character of a beggar.
Yeah. Like he takes Agamemnon's advice to when he goes back home to take his time and quietly assess the situation to make sure that he's not going to get like killed essentially, which is pretty much what happened to in the movie. Is pretty much what happened to Agamemnon when he returned home, as he was killed by Helen of Troy.
Yeah, basically he says, don't come with the victory thinking that everyone is going to applaud you for everything you did. It's better to disguise yourself smarter. So he uses his intelligence to strategically place himself in the position of like the king, but in disguise. So the people that are there trying to marry his wife Penelope, they can be surprised by his presence, and he does this with the help of his son, which is also a failure in my opinion of representing masculinity. I was expecting his son being like in a journey of asserting himself, becoming a man, trying to occupy the place of his dad, which he never achieves in this movie. And when his dad comes back, he doesn't do anything. Like his son completely disappears. There's like an ending fight where Matt Damon is fighting all these people and everyone fights. He wins one person against like 40. And his son is just like kind of there running like confused, giving him a tool. But like he never asserts himself as a man. And the crew of Matt Damon also dies. All of them dies because they were basically, how do you say it? In the movie, they make a point about the destiny of every person and the responsibility that they take over their own journey. So like Matt Damon learns that his crew is going to die eventually, and what they do,
he tries to stop them. Like he is told by the blind man from Hades, essentially, what's going to happen, that his men are going to disobey him, and because of their disobedience, they're going to die. And it even gets to the point where Odysseus tells them point blank, like, if we land on this island and you kill these cows of Zeus, the sun god's cows, like, you're all going to die if you do that. And so he warns them ahead of time what's going to happen. And then, of course, they end up getting stranded on the island and they're starving to death. So the men have no choice but to kill and eat the cows, so they do. And exactly what you think happens. they all get killed.
yeah,
So,
and there's a moment where they are, before that they are turning to pigs.
yeah.
And there's like this way of saying like, hey, your men are pigs. And basically, how do you call Athena, he was trying to save his friends, and he says, oh, I'm trying to do this, do that. And said, you're taking responsibility that doesn't belong to you. Like, basically, they are pigs. They are what they are. And their destiny is their responsibility. That's their fate. And your fate is other thing. Like, overcoming whatever and going back home.
Was it Athena who said that, or was it Circe?
Well, everyone said it because the director doesn't think that we're smart enough. They said it in different ways, different times.
Yeah, there's a lot of that happens.
Yeah.
Like they'll start like repeating stuff because they just assume that you're scrolling your phone and not
Or
watching
you're
or
dumb.
something. Yeah, that's how movies are going to be now, guys. From now on, they're going to treat you like you're an idiot and just tell you, pound stuff into your head over and over again because they have to, because you're just constantly scrolling 10-second clips all day. I'm guessing. I don't know.
Yeah, so basically all his crew dies. So those are the men that are there to serve him basically, and they are all pigs. They are not responsible for their own weaknesses. No, that's a little bit of the journey of the hero too, overcoming your weaknesses, being stronger. Well, they cannot do it. Only Odysseus can. But when he comes back weak, confused. This is my interpretation. He comes back not like he goes back, obviously, to his wife and son, knowing that he's not the same person, that he poisoned the entire society doing the breaking Zeus law, and that he's the evil one that created the downfall of his society. And he knows that. He takes responsibility. He goes back home. He's received with love. But while we are in the last scenes, we can see that, to me, he's dying. I'm telling you the ending. And he's going to the exile of life forever, because what is he going to do? He cannot do anything.
So at the end of the movie, Odysseus survives. You think he's going to die, but he actually ends up surviving after he kills all of the suitors in this really long and dumb fight scene that was essentially like John Wick in Torchlight. It's just
ugly,
just too long and just
dumb,
terrible, in my opinion. But for the people that just want the action, then maybe that'll be their favorite part. But after that, you think he's dying or whatever, but he decides to leave.
To me, he dies. It's a symbol of dying. To me, that's my interpretation.
Yeah, we'll get into that in a second. But he ends up leaving and following the fantasy of he and Penelope and chase the escaping sun, as they say, which is a terrible phrase, which we'll get into later. Anyway, they end up leaving and sailing west and leaving their son to be the king, which is fine. But that's not what happens in the original story. That in the original story, Odysseus just returns and becomes king again, and Athena comes and stops all the bloodshed. That's what happens in the original story.
Yeah, so basically there's many human topics, as you can say, but to me it's a way of degrading the masculine, and maybe that's a reflection of our society. I don't know. The phrase that really stuck to me was like when Odysseus comes back as the beggar and he disguises himself. He tries to honor the first soldier that died in Troy. How is the name of the character?
Sinon.
Yeah, Sinon dies because he was told. What did he was lied to? He said that.
Yeah, they basically told him that they were offering Troy a peace gift for Athena, and it was that big wooden horse.
Yeah, he didn't know.
And Sinon did not know that they were all hiding inside of it, and that it was not really a peace offering, but was like a piece of trickery. One thing that's interesting, though, that I need to mention before I forget, is that earlier we mentioned that Nolan's overall view is that basically the Bronze Age collapse was caused by violation of Zeus's law of hospitality, because that is one opinion, that the gift of the wooden horse violates the law because it's trickery. But there are other people who disagree with that. There are other scholars who disagree with that and say, actually, the law of hospitality only applies in peacetime. In war, it's totally fine. All's fair in war. So using trickery to like gain access to somebody's walls inside their city is seen as acceptable by many Greek scholars, and it's not a violation of hospitality. But Nolan obviously wants to tell the story that that's what the cause of everything bad that happened was. So
yeah, and that that the main character, what he feels is guilt because he won the battles and he won through cheating, let's say, lying, and he also if I want to end my analysis, I'm almost in the end, like this Sinon character. He was proclaimed by Odysseus like the bravest of them all, like the Ellen Page character, that it's not even a male.
The bravest man he's ever known.
Yeah, the bravest, they say the bravest man he's ever known.
I'm sure that was a requirement to be acting in the role, maybe. I don't know.
Well, I don't know, honestly, but That's why I'm saying, like, what is the concept of masculinity in this movie? And to me, it's kind of, I don't know, perverted or degraded, or saying that it's kind of bad. And this character that is the least masculine, the one that didn't do anything, basically. But I know why he gets the acclamation of being the most heroic is because he lived in truth. He believed what he was told, and he died in his law, let's say, let's put it this way. And that's why in Odysseus' mind, even if he won and he did all the fantastic journey, he doesn't deserve anything because he was lying his way out of all the situations, using people as tools for executing his plans, even this kid, supposedly. And he doesn't deserve to be the most heroic because he just is kind of like the poison of the society. I can see that in the culture that we live in. Like, how many people want to be successful at any cost? And success to them sometimes means lying, means taking advantage of the weakest, of the hospitality, of the kindness of some people, using it for profit and then you become like this monster, and the price that you pay was the time with your family. Like, that's part of the problems that Odysseus has, like, because he was away from his family 20 years for winning wars and whatever. Like, at the end of the day, he just reflects on, okay, all these things that I did, were they actually worth it? Because I loved my family and I should have been here all the time, and I couldn't see he doesn't say this. This is my interpretation. He could have seen his kid grow up, and he didn't. He was there fighting, getting distracted with delusions, consumption, obsessions, things. And he won everything, but he was empty and he became a monster. So I understand that. And he didn't live in truth. He lived in deception. But to me, it was kind of dark and sad. And if it's a representation of our world, good. But I was expecting maybe to see a classical hero's tale where we can see someone being honorable, being successful in a righteous way. Maybe that's what I was expecting.
I would say that they were trying very hard to portray Odysseus as honorable throughout the entire movie, especially with the whole business about him plucking the bow to warn his prey before he hunts them and things like that. Like, even animals he's honorable with, you know. They were really trying hard to make you think that Odysseus is honorable throughout the whole movie.
He didn't think so.
He didn't think he was.
Well, I'm talking now his internal perspective.
Yeah, right. Which, I mean, you know, this movie is made from the perspective of someone that is like in the world of after World War II, where it's like you've sacrificed everything, even yourself, to make a better world, but that world is not for you, so you have to go away at the end. Like, it's a trope we've seen over and over again in war movies, and that's definitely what Nolan has done here as well. Yeah, the whole theme of the movie is hospitality, and Odysseus feels that they violated it, and that is the cause of everything bad that's happening. And then when he's trying to get back home, he ends up pissing off Poseidon, and because of that, he's unable to get home for a very long time. Because when you're sailing on the ocean, you don't want to make the ocean god mad, which is exactly what they did with the island of the Cyclops in the story, and here as well in this movie, except it's not quite as, they don't lean into the reality of the gods quite as much in this movie than I mean, I'm glad they didn't just do away with them totally like they pretty much did with Troy, the 2004 Troy movie. I did like that they leaned into the gods being real in this more. So basically the short version is that Odysseus feels bad about all the things he took part in the Seas of Troy. He thinks that they violated the law of hospitality, which is essentially kind of like the golden rule, and feels like subconsciously he doesn't deserve to go home, so he diverts and goes off on a bunch of side quests. Basically, ends up pissing off Poseidon, who is the worst person to piss off, when you're having to sail on the ocean, since he's the god of the ocean.
Yeah, to me that wasn't that clear.
It wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't as clear here as it was in the original poem, and other interpretations of it.
But you say something interesting about when he lands into the island with the lady.
Calypso.
Yeah, with Calypso.
Yeah. So first, it's been a while since I've read the poem, but I feel like Odysseus didn't eat the lotuses. I feel like some of his men did, but of course, in this version, his men were already all gone by the time he washes up with Calypso. I felt like it was interesting because Calypso, played by Charlize Theron, like obviously Charlize Theron is like a very pretty woman, but they made her look like kind of trashy in the movie. She looks kind of like old and trashy.
I didn't love the way the lighting was set for her. I don't know if she saw that movie and liked it personally.
She's kind of like in the story. She's almost like a, I don't know. Maybe I'm getting too deep on this, but she almost seemed like some kind of like addiction, like almost like a like pornography or something. Like it's a fake woman and giving you drugs to forget that you need to be a man now. You need to grow out of your that. I don't know. That's the vibe I got from that. But then she ends up like wanting him to go back home, which just seemed weird to me. It was like, okay, well, what's the point of this then? Like, she falls in love with Odysseus and she wants to keep him there, but then I guess she feels bad and wants him to go back home eventually. Maybe she got tired of him. I don't know. But like I felt like it would have been better.
He didn't shower in 20 years.
Yeah, I feel like it would have been better if she's trying to keep him there and then he does some kind of trickery to stop eating the lotus and gets away from her or something like that. I think that would have been better because it was basically, to me, it seemed like she was some kind of addiction as a distraction, but then she ends up helping him go back. So I feel like it would have been better if some outside force or something else came in to like jog his memory and he ended up like realizing that he needs to leave, essentially. I feel like that would have been better.
Well, to me, it's done well because it was about his identity. And when he lands into that island, it's like she tells him, like, I wanted to heal your body because you were all, like, injured, hurt. And I gave you this lotus, and you started eating it, and then you forgot all the problems that you had. And he lost his identity, and when he wanted to remember, she let him. So basically what it's implied in the movie is like he had some autonomy to decide what he wanted to do. He knew kind of that he was lost, but he didn't want to hear the truth. He was not ready to hear what was his purpose, what he needed to do, that he needed to return. It's another problem, you know. He was like in that fantasy land with this beautiful woman in this paradise beach. And when he says, okay, I had enough of this and I need to be who I am and who I'm called to be, and I need to leave you. And the non-resistance of this lady, this goddess or whoever it was, I don't remember the name, Calypso tells you that it was himself that he was trying to escape from home. And they make that clear over and over during the movie. Like, yes, there are these outside forces, but at the same time, he didn't want to go back because he was not the same person. And he was suffering with guilt, suffering with trauma and all these things. And when he found the strength of saying, no, I will not eat this, I want to know the truth, he found it, and he was always free, you know? And that's very modern. Like, that's a very topic that I think with the doom scroll, with addiction, with pleasure, with comfort, we all can submerge ourselves in those moments, and we are losing time of our life on the purpose that God has on our life.
Well, if Calypso was more eager to keep him a prisoner and stay, like, you could still make the same analysis that it's still him even though it's representative, even though she's the one representing his problem. Because the addiction is like a monster and it's going to keep wanting you to come back for more and more and more. But in this way, it's like the addiction heals him some way, somehow. And then, I don't know, it seemed odd to me. Maybe I'm just not looking at it right. But
No. I mean, I understand what you say, but I think it's more powerful to think that she didn't
Right.
force him to stay.
Right.
It's like when you do some sin that you go back to. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like sometimes the sin is gluttony or something like that. You feel a lot of pleasure or you indulge, and no one is forcing you. Mm-hmm. No one is forcing you. You just do it on your own will, and you can get free on your own will. Not saying that gluttony is something that you just need will to overcome, but you know what I mean? Like there are things that we choose to stop us from our purpose. Mm-hmm. Entertainment, for example, or different things that seem good even. You know what I mean? There are things that seem good that are bad.
Feel good in the moment, but over time they destroy you.
Yeah, they destroy you. They destroy you. They take years away from your family, from the purpose that you had in your life. I think we are all in that era of complete pleasure, hedonistic comfort, and instead of
Brave New World.
making our life better, it makes our life worse because we are lost in all this soft life.
Chasing pleasure constantly.
Yeah, and you become addicted.
Yep, it's Brave New World. It's the Huxley.
Yeah, that's very dangerous.
That's reality.
You don't want to be too comfortable ever. The friction of the discomfort is what makes you go through what you have to. Let's talk about the cast and the technical aspects. Matt Damon, what do you think about him?
I like Matt Damon a lot as an actor. I think he's a wonderful actor, and I wasn't sure at first when I first heard the casting that he was going to be Odysseus, but honestly, I really thought he was a great Odysseus. I really enjoyed him. He was probably my favorite part of the movie. Honestly, is just he's just really good. I thought he was the perfect Odysseus.
Well, I love Matt Damon. I think he's a great actor. He is trained, guys.
He's ripped. He looks ripped in the movie too.
He looks awesome. I don't know his age, but I want his diet. I don't look like that.
Well, I wouldn't
And
want
I'm
you to
like-
look like Matt Damon. So.
But I'm saying I'm not fit at all. And I don't know. I want to think that I'm younger than him. Then we have Anne Hathaway
Very pretty woman.
as an actress, babe, as an actress.
I mean, I don't think she's a bad actress, but she is really annoying. And there were definitely some kind of like certainly
Girl boss moments.
yeah, like feminist lines that were thrown in there that I'm sure she probably insisted upon.
I want to give feminist to this character, she said to Nolan.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
will not play Penelope if she's not a strong, independent woman.
Yeah. She's obnoxious in real life too, so I'm not surprised.
Yeah, she's not my favorite. She's not my favorite actress. Not because she's a bad actress, it's because I feel like she has to push her ideology in every character that she plays in some way or another. Maybe not back in the day when she was not as recognized, but now she's in the peak of her career and seems like she's a muse for Nolan because I seen
And she's in like everything that he does.
all his movies and she's always there giving us his girl boss moments.
Yeah. My when was it this year or the last year? Did you see that moment where some guy ran up to her and gave her like a Quran? Did you ever see that?
No.
That's hilarious. And she's like all like accepting
I
it. Like,
try
"Oh."
not to watch anything from her if I can avoid it.
The feminist accepting a Quran with honor is just too
I'm
funny.
I'm a female. I'm all for females, but I don't like people that use their job to push ideologies when it's not their job. Like if you do a commentary like us, we say what we believe, but we are not there like pushing it to everyone in different contexts where it's not correct. Then
Robert Pattinson was good.
I like
He's always
him.
good.
He's good.
He was really good. He does really good like subtle facial things.
He gives evil.
Yeah, he's really good at playing like an evil, scheming character. He's perfect for that. He's just a great actor all around. There were some dumb scenes with him, which maybe I'll get into in a bit, but like it's not his fault. It's the director fault. Like directionally, it was just a bad choice to. Should I say it now or should I wait?
You say it. Say it.
Okay. There's a scene during like the Odysseus Wick scene where Robert Pattinson, of course, is like a coward and like telling other people like grab that, to try to kill Odysseus, but he's not actually fighting himself, where he's like hiding behind a pillar and pointing things out because there's a guy that's broken into the weapon chamber above. He's chopped through the floor and he's trying to pass weapons down to the men so they can kill Odysseus. And Robert Pattinson sees the weapons falling down and landing on the floor, and they keep showing cuts to him. Like I think the first one is like he's pointing out like swords that are falling on the floor. He's like, grab the swords, grab the swords or whatever. And I'm like, okay. And then shields pop down, and then they cut to Pattinson again saying like shields, as if we didn't just see shields fall from the ceiling. They had to, and I was like, okay, so that was two things, and surely they're done now. They're not going to cut again to him and show him pointing something else out. But no. Then all of a sudden Spears comes down and they show him popping at me like, grab the spears. And it's like, okay, like what is this? Like it's just dumb. Why you didn't need to show us that same cut 3 times. It was silly.
Now, Tom Holland.
I like Tom Holland.
How did he do in the movie?
He was fine as his character, he plays, he's perfect to play like a young,
basic.
naive. Wow. Okay. It's not his fault, but I wanted more action on his end at the end. I wanted him to come in and do more to help his father at the end. Like one of my favorite scenes from the old like 1998 TV version of the Odyssey is when it's time to kill all the suitors. The son in that version like runs and grabs a spear off the wall and like runs through one of the suitors and like pins him up against the wall with it. And that was just so cool, the way they did that. I love that scene.
Well, that reinforced my theory. Like, this was not about becoming a man. It was the exile of men. Weak men everywhere.
But he does become king.
He does, but it's a weak king. He was not smart. He
What do you
was
mean?
not
No.
strong.
We don't.
He didn't fight. He didn't do anything. Just because you have the title doesn't mean that...
He was still like a kid. Like we don't know.
He was 20 years.
We don't know
when mom and dad...
You can't say he's a weak king because he just became king. We don't see how he's a king because he doesn't happen
Well,
yet
but
in the
he didn't
story.
do anything to deserve being king just by being a son's king.
Well, many such cases in history.
Yeah,
So.
I agree. But like, it was not the becoming of a king story, if you know what I mean. Okay, Zendaya. We are tired of Zendaya.
That's the Argentinian way of saying Zendaya, by the way.
Is there any other way?
Yeah, I think I have like Zendaya fatigue a little bit.
We all do.
Yeah, it's not that she's a bad actress or anything like that. She's fine. I'm just tired of seeing her.
Kinda ugly Latinas.
Yeah, kind of.
She's pretty, but they didn't put her pretty at all. It's like Dune again.
Yeah, in Dune, she looked like a boy.
And here, she looked kind of ambiguous too, like kind of not godly. Let's put it that way. She looked kind of.
But then they kind of explain why.
Yeah, they explained it why.
It's a spoiler alert. So Matt Damon sees her, or Odysseus sees her as Athena because when he's in Troy, and they're chopping off the head of the Athena statue in Troy at the Temple of Athena, they also kill like a young priestess who is Zendaya. So I feel like that's sort of him making Athena look like the young priestess that he saw killed.
Yeah.
Which it's actually kind of cool. I actually kind of like.
Yeah, it seems like she has like a connection with him where during the movie.
Because he doesn't stop it.
She gives him like wisdom. But it's like the inner wisdom because it's like the representation.
It's his guilt.
That he made of that girl based on the guilt of the.
It's the guilt of
war.
letting them cut off her head and not stopping it.
Ellen Page.
I don't know if they pitch shifted the voice, but it was hard. I mean, it was kind of comical. It was just somebody trying very hard to sound like a man, and it was just hard not to kind of chuckle a little bit whenever they spoke. For me, I know that's mean, but I can't help it. I'm sorry. It was just because it's not only like not a man, but it's just like this very frail and scrawny, emaciated stick of a warrior that's trying to sound like very masculine. It didn't work for me, and I'm sorry, but it just didn't.
Yeah, to me, it was so irrelevant in the movie, but they made it to look like a big thing because of what I said before. Like he was the representation of true masculinity. And I'm serious. I'm not even joking. But she appears like 2 seconds, and that's it.
Yeah. I don't have much else to say.
Yeah, there's
about
not
it.
much to say. It just dies that right in the beginning, and then it appears in one scene. Well, and who was your favorite? The ones that are not main characters.
Of the ones that are not main characters, my favorite. You know what? I don't remember the actor's name, and I feel bad about that. But I really liked his shipmate that was like played by an Indian guy.
I love that.
He was.
I love that actor too.
Yeah,
he was great.
He was great. Yeah, I thought he did really well. I've seen him in other stuff too. I just can't remember his name. The only problem I had, and this is related to something I'll get into in a bit, but there's a scene where they go to Cersei's island, and he goes up into Cersei's hut, and she runs from him, and he chases her, and he goes, "It's okay, and it's like, oh man, like just sounds so modern. Like I don't like that at all. But we'll get into that in a bit.
Yeah, my least favorite actor was the blind man.
John
Terrible.
Leguizamo.
I don't know who he is.
He's in a lot of
Terrible.
stuff.
And I
I
think,
think he was terrible.
well,
I
to
mean,
me, it's my opinion. To me,
Sure.
it was poop.
yeah, it was strange because just it's like, what is this? It sounds like a guy from like Brooklyn, like an old man from
No,
Brooklyn
yeah,
or something.
I don't know what happened there, and
Yeah.
I didn't love him. I did love healing
Helen.
Helen. I loved Helen. I thought she was so pretty. I love that they made her look like this exotic being that
Yeah.
I went to the movies without hearing the Helen of Detroit joke. I didn't know who
there's a
was
few
that
jokes.
lady, but I thought that she was great. She acted great, and she was so pretty.
Yeah, she's very attractive. And like, I don't know, like I didn't have such a huge problem with that as everybody else did. Like, I mean, she's probably a better actress than the 2004 Helen, who was very. They casted a very, very conventionally attractive woman to play Helen of Troy in the 2004 one, but she's also just a very dull actress.
I don't
So-
know. I just loved her character. I thought, first of all, I didn't know that she was Helen of Troy. I learned that because sometimes they speak too fast, or they do this acting where they all talk like that and they whisper like that, and so I don't know sometimes what they're saying. But I loved about her character that she's brought like this exotic,
Yeah, she's-
very different from all the other people that you see in the movie. And then she's so pretty, and then she's so violent.
Yeah.
I love that.
Well, and they also kind of really leaned into where the beauty of Helen of Troy is not really why they want her. It's essentially just they take the cynical route where it's really not really about her beauty. They even make a joke where he grabs her face and shows, look, the face that launched 1,000 ships, and he shows like one side of it's like scarred and stuff. So the point wasn't that she was like just so beautiful that Paris couldn't resist or something like that. It was really to control like the trade routes. So it was like a very cynical interpretation of that they went with. And I guess I don't know if that was Nolan trying to sort of justify the casting, or I mean, you thought she was very pretty, so that's fine. But a lot of people.
I didn't know that she was Helen of Troy, if I'm honest. I learned it when I got back home. I was like, who is that actress? I loved it.
She's barely in the movie. I mean, she's in it for like a couple of scenes, and that's really.
I thought that the cast was great.
And then I don't know, the most worthless, controversial cast choice, I guess, was like Travis Scott as the bard.
He sucked.
He's in it for like 2 seconds, and like, what was the there was no point to it really. He provides some tension when things are mounting up at the end with his like stacked staff banging on the table to make like a percussive like dun dun dun, like some things are ramping up, and about to become intense. That was the purpose of that, I think. But he's not a very relevant character at all in the movie. It's kind of funny though, because he probably the actor probably killed more people in real life than the other warriors in the
Astro World.
Yeah. That's not funny, actually. That was actually really terrible. I shouldn't laugh about that.
Tell me about the technical aspects, the script, and what do you love and what do you hate?
Yeah, the movie to me looked really pretty. Like a lot of the cinematography was pretty good. Like especially the scenes on the sea, like were very pretty and pretty colorful. Although like one thing that kind of bugged me, and it's just not a huge deal. I'm not somebody that's going to totally crap on a movie because they get some like minor historical detail wrong. But they were definitely using like Viking longboats instead of Greek triremes. There's not a gigantic difference between them, but it was noticeable. I don't know why. I suppose because it was easier to show longer shots of the boat where you can still see everybody, whereas most of the triremes that I've seen have like a upper deck over the place where you row, so maybe the lighting wouldn't be as good with people rowing or something like that. I don't know what the purpose was, but they definitely were using more like Viking ships, which bothered me like a little bit. But for me, the biggest problem of the movie was the script. Whoever wrote the script using the language and the word choices that they use should like be fired and never work on another historical movie ever again. Well, historical, but the word choice, the language just did not work. Like I mentioned earlier, we had a scene where somebody goes, "Okay, it's okay, it's okay," or
like too modern.
Yeah, too modern. Or like Telemachus calling Odysseus dad. That was strange. Also, that like poetic line they keep repeating as a theme for the exile at the end: chase the escaping sun. Not chase the setting sun, chase the sinking sun, chase the dying sun. You really chose escaping. Like that is, it seems like a really strange word choice that's ugly to me. Why would they choose that word? Like it's bad. Very much a missed opportunity to make something prettier sounding. It just, to me, it just was not right. A lot of the language in the movie was like that, where it was just, I don't know if it's written for idiots or something, but like it's just coarse. And I mean, I understand that people didn't speak English back then, so obviously you have to make things understandable or whatever, but I would have expected something more, I don't know, more ancient or
neutral.
What you would expect
like
of like
father.
an epic, like something like almost Tolkien-esque, like where the language is more beautiful and.
But Tolkien was a linguist.
What?
Tolkien was a linguist.
I know, but
so you expect that?
I would.
Hollywood.
Yes, I did. I did, and they could do it too. So I don't know why they chose some of the words they chose. It just was bad, and I've noticed that on a lot of movies in the last few years, where they just have some really bad like line choices.
Well, they make it with AI.
I don't know about that, but the script was awful. Truly miserable.
Can you talk a little bit about the historical context? I know that they mentioned like the sea people, the Bronze Age collapsing, and all of that. And I don't know exactly. And as Christians, I think that's pretty important.
It is actually. A lot of people don't realize this, but Bronze Age collapse is a very integral historical part of the Exodus, in my view, because I take the late Exodus view, but sort of the bad script ties into this because there's a really, like the worst line in the whole movie, in my opinion, actually comes from Odysseus towards the end, where he sort of is sitting there talking to Penelope and lamenting, and he says something like, our age of bronze is coming to an end or something. And this, to me, this was Nolan kind of looking at you and winking me like, see, I read the history. I read the books that I was supposed to read. So I know, so we're going to have a character refer to the age that they're in with the same name as scholars thousands of years later refer to the age that they're in, which
It's just that it's made so for dumb people that
Yeah.
it's unbelievable.
Well, no, they didn't need to put that in there at all. Like,
Yeah,
there
exactly.
there was no purpose for that. That was a dumb. It was supposed to be like a wink and a nod to the people, I guess, that are more familiar with history or something. But it just came off flat, and it was just kind of more annoying than anything. But yeah, and then they talked. Yeah, you're right. They talked a lot about the sea people, and of course, the sea people are in the movie are people that are coming and pillaging villages and destroying things and stealing. And they're like kind of a mystery, and nobody knows where they come from in the movie. And of course, in the movie, the twist sort of at the end is that it's actually the Greeks themselves that are the sea people, which is kind of true. The
twist is kind of cool.
Yeah, the twist is kind of cool. I kind of liked it. But it seemed like the Bronze Age collapse, from the perspective of the movie, came from what the Greeks did to the Trojans in violating Zeus's law and causing all this chaos. Because the Bronze Age collapse was not just one thing; it was many things that led to kind of a dark age where the Greeks would lose even writing for like 500 years because of this. So the Bronze Age collapse essentially is something that happened around 1200 BC, like 1150 to 1200 BC, where there was like a really long drought that caused famine coming like all across the land. And so we have like starving people coming from like the Mycenaean area, which is like the islands in the Mediterranean that are coming east into the land of like Canaan and other places to take food and pillage and basically make a new home for themselves, essentially. And they applied a major pressure to the powerhouses of the time, like the Hittite Empire and Egypt, big city-states like on Cyprus and Ugarit collapse from the sea people. And there were also like what's called an earthquake storm, which is like tons of earthquakes that all happened around the same time all around the area that caused the destruction of temples and things like this. So at that time, it probably really felt like an apocalyptic event where the whole society collapsed. And then you had the change from mostly bronze metal to iron. Iron kind of takes over from bronze because it's cheaper to make. And bronze becomes pretty expensive just because tin is so rare.
And they use those materials to make weapons.
Yes. So iron is stronger than bronze. It's not that a lot of times in movies you'll see this thing where somebody has a bronze sword and somebody has an iron sword and they fight together and they clash the swords, and then there's some dramatic event where like the iron sword cuts the bronze sword in half or something like that. Now that's a little far-fetched, but like thematically what they're trying to say is that iron is taking over, because bronze is an alloy of copper and tin, and though copper was plentiful, especially on like the Sinai Peninsula, tin was rare and it could only be found in like northern Europe areas. So it was more expensive to make and weaker. And since iron was like everywhere, it eventually just made sense for that to take over. Of course, you have to burn it hotter in order to make it. But so that's why we have the Bronze Age ending and then the Iron Age kind of rising up. It's not like one abruptly ends, like the Bronze Age abruptly ends here and then the Iron Age starts here. They definitely intersect each other, where the beginning of the bronze or the beginning of the iron rather, is starting before bronze is out of use, and the two definitely met on the battlefield lots of times. So
yeah, but you're leaving the important thing behind.
What?
The Moses situation.
Oh, right. Sorry. I'm kind of
like, what are we talking?
I've been writing a story that's based around this time period, so I've been researching it a lot, and I'm probably messing a lot of stuff up. But essentially, I take the late view of the Exodus. So the Bronze Age collapse for me was kind of providential for the Israelites to leave Egypt and be able to establish themselves in the land of Canaan. Canaan was kind of a contested territory between Egypt and the Hittite Empire. But with the sea people coming in and the famine and everything like that, Egypt and the Hittite Empire could no longer focus on Canaan as an area of to fight over. So because of the sea people coming in and destroying a bunch of things and burning cities and taking people captive.
Because of the famine, they wanted
Yeah.
to eat and
Yeah,
get resources.
Essentially, it's tons and tons and tons of refugees starving, coming into the land of Canaan to take food. And
What's happening in Spain?
yes, wow, yeah. Like I said, we have the same problems every generation.
Yeah,
so.
that's super relevant.
Yeah. But anyway, this sort of cleared the way for Moses and Joshua and all of the Israelites to sort of be able to establish themselves into the land of Canaan, because everything was sort of kind of cleared out. Not totally cleared out, but a lot of it was cleared out and made ready for the Exodus to be able to be successful, essentially. And basically the biggest empire that at the time that survived the sea people was Egypt, and they barely survived. And what happened is Egypt actually won against the sea people and ended up settling them on the coast of Canaan. And the sea people, who were a bunch of different groups, but from the general area of like the Mycenaean area, so the Greek area, were settled on the coast of Canaan and became what we know as the Philistines in the Old Testament. That those were the sea people, essentially.
And what is the providence of God in that situation?
The providentially would be using the Bronze Age collapse as a way to kind of prepare the land of Canaan for the
So they didn't have to combat anyone because they were such a small population, and that area was destroyed already.
Well, they did have to fight.
Yeah, but not in the scale that they should have to. If there was, that wouldn't have happened.
The area was in a state of like political chaos because the other big empires that were controlling the area had to deal with other more important issues that were happening. So they couldn't focus on that area. So it sort of made it so the Hebrews could come in and establish themselves, essentially.
That's so cool. Okay, so I want to talk about the Christianity aspect of this movie. First of all, we have different gods. It's a very Greek mythology, pagan oriented. We have Zeus, you call it Zeus. Mm-hmm. We have Poseidon. How do you call
it?
Poseidon.
Yep.
Athena. All of these gods. What do we think about them? I used to be a pagan myself, and I can say that I used to be into astrology, and we use the pantheon of the Greek gods for naming the stars in the sky.
You use the Roman version.
Yeah, we use the Roman version, sorry, but it's the same people. So Zeus is Jupiter, Neptune is Poseidon.
Yes.
Blah, blah, blah. Well, so many pagan people, as myself, had spiritual experiences through these entities, spiritual entities that many people, even if you don't believe it, still consider them gods. What do you think about these gods nowadays?
So I take the view that ancient people were not idiots, and they were sacrificing to very real entities. And so at that time, I think that the gods were real, and they really were working influence and doing things with people. It's just that now, after the incarnation and the resurrection and the coming of the Holy Spirit into the world, I feel like the major influence and the power of all of those different gods that they had over their people that they were bound to was kind of broken through Christ, essentially, is my personal view. And I'm not alone in that. There are a lot of people who think that, but I think it's a neat view. And it's not, it's sort of, it's not one of those things where people will say, it's one of those things where people will say like, okay, God is real, but which one? It's like, well, no, like I think that they're all probably real in the sense that they are real spiritual beings. It's just that they're not really God in the big G sense. They're gods in the small sense. They're beings that are supposed to be working for the real creator God, but they have disobeyed, and they are trying to gain their own power and their own influence and be worshipped themselves, but they're not supposed to be doing that. Which is why the incarnation happens. God comes into the world as Christ, and through his sacrifice and resurrection ends up breaking the power that the old gods had over mankind. And they're still like around, floating around, but they're not as strong as they used to be because they're all on a leash, essentially. They've always been on a leash, but now their power is even further broken because the people are no longer bound to them as they were bound to them at the Babel event.
And for the brothers and sisters in Christ, will you recommend the movie?
Yeah, I would say so. I think it's worthwhile to watch. There are some bad things, like I said, the script, but there are definitely like sort of Christian themes within it as well. The golden rule is in there, treating others how you wish to be treated. I mean, that's something Jesus says directly. You have treating beggars kindly, which is a Greek thing. Truly, because they figured that the Zeus and Hermes and others would like travel around as beggars to test the kindness of people. And that's something that's also a Christian view, is that like you should be nice to beggars and strangers because how you treat the least of these is how you treat me, is something that Christ said. So that's something that's true, or like that you're entertaining angels in disguise. That's another view from Paul, I think. So you should always be treating beggars and strangers kindly and with charity. So it was a Greek thing, and it's a very Christian thing too.
Yeah, but what about all the explicit visuals that we have during the trips of Odysseus? I think that's not very nice.
What do you mean?
Like when they kill people, they eat people, they just, I don't know, it just felt kind of disgusting.
So I'm not following. I'm sorry.
The movie.
Yeah, no, I know, but
It has explicit content. That's what I'm saying.
oh, right. I mean, yeah. So it'd be for a more mature audience. It's not something that you'd want to take like your little kids to or anything like that.
Yeah, but we have to protect our hearts.
I disagree.
He doesn't believe that we have to protect our hearts.
We have to protect our hearts, but like violence is something that's just normal part of like the world.
We have to consume it for entertainment. That's what you're saying.
No, you don't have to. You don't have to, but there's not like a strict guideline that you can never see anything that depicts violence because it's in the Bible.
Jesus says, better cut your eyes. I don't know in English. It's better to take your eyes.
Yeah, but he's talking about lust.
Well, kind of the same.
It's not. There are in that case, don't read the Bible because there's tons of violence in there. People getting their heads cut off.
The Bible is the words of God, and this is not.
Yeah, but like there's violence. There's people getting their heads cut off. There's spikes driven through people's heads. There's talking about killing and conquering in all kinds of places in like the Old Testament especially. So it's not. I mean, it's. I don't understand the point you're trying to make.
I have an opinion.
We disagree on that one.
Yeah, he thinks that we should be exposed to everything.
I think if you are a man...
I'm not a man. I'm not a man.
Okay, great. But
Great.
I'm glad you're not a man, okay? I'm very relieved you're not a man for many reasons. But like if you are a man in the world, you need to understand what the world is like and how dark and how cold it is. And you need to understand the depravity of mankind, and you probably
but we already know. We need to see it on the movies that we watch.
I say yes. Yes, we do.
I say no. Okay, so now, before ending, we have the 2 conspiracies that I found. Do you want to hear them?
Yeah.
We're going to finish.
Sure.
The first one is about, do you know that Zendaya and Tom Holland are married?
I didn't know they were married. I thought they were just like boyfriend and girlfriend.
Okay, they are married. Doesn't matter if they are boyfriend, girlfriend, married, whatever. The important thing is that seems like Tom Holland and Zendaya made a pact with the devil to be in every movie in this era. They are in all the movies. They both made a spiritual contract, and there's proof because I don't know if you've seen, but seems like in the Spider movie, there's a cameo with Messi.
Is Zendaya in the Spider-Man movie too?
Yeah.
Oh, really? I didn't even know that.
I'm telling you. They've been in Dune, Spider-Man, this movie. All the movies that you see in Hollywood, you will see Zendaya and Tom Holland.
Tom Holland isn't in Dune.
No, Zendaya and Tom Holland, not them together. Like they will be in every movie that we see because they made a pact with the devil. And you can see that because in the Spider-Man movie, they have a cameo with Messi, and Messi is called the goat, and he's related to the devil. And then I'm being serious.
Oh, I know. I know.
So it means that they made a pact with the devil, the goat, to be in every Hollywood movie and be famous and have the glory of this world. That's the conspiracy number one.
It's because Messi? Because he's
Well,
called the goat?
it's a message because you know that
Is Messi in the movie or is he just in the ad for it?
I have no idea. I think it's in the ad, but it could be in the movie. I don't know.
Even though the greatest of all time, goat just means
Well,
greatest
but
of all
why they say that goat? You can
Because
say
it means
the best.
Because it
No,
means greatest of all time.
greatest, and you can say the best. But they say goat because they want to show you that the one that is at the top of everyone is the goat. Are you serious? Come on, do I have to explain
That
this?
is so schizophrenic. Like it's it's literally just a way of saying it's just the
But
abbreviation.
isn't that super force? You can say the best of the entire history. No, the great of all time because they want to show you the goat. Yes. Who thinks that's normal to say in goat to some excellent player of whatever? Do you think it's normal? You normalized it.
It has become normal.
Well,
Say
that's
greatest
what
of
I'm
all time.
saying.
Greatest of all time. Greatest of all time.
It could be the best of the history, and no one says that. Why? Because it doesn't have the association with a goat.
It sounds stupid. Greatest of all time sounds better than best
Sounds
of all
better
history.
because the entertainment industry told you that it sounds better.
Of
and
all
you're
time.
repeating
Of all time.
of half
That's
history.
something we say. No, in English, of all time is what we say. Of all time. We don't say of all history.
Yeah, but Messi's Argentinian. He doesn't say it like that either.
But the goat is only true in English.
I know. That's what I'm saying. Not only you are.
So many of these like schizophrenic conspiracy things are only valid in English. That's the problem with a lot of them.
I mean, I feel like you are not open to hearing the truth.
Okay, what's the next one?
The next one is Christopher Nolan was paid by the Illuminati to downplay the role of the lesser gods in this movie because obviously we're talking about Greek mythology, but the focus is not on the gods, it's on humanity. To call males to watch his movie and harvest male energy for 3 hours.
Do you keep that in a bottle on a shelf somewhere or
It's a spiritual pact that they do with witchcraft.
like lesser magic?
Yeah, that they put in movies.
Could be.
Guys, just tell me what you think about this dude in the comments because it's unbelievable. I cannot say that his conspiracy is true or is false. I'm just presenting it to you. You leave me the comments down below and I will start fighting him behind camera because this cannot be. We cannot be married like this.
Okay.
Thank you for watching. Bye.